Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to speak about UNHCR. At the end of the 216th, the President of the Republic of Indonesia signed a presidential regulation on the handling of refugees from abroad. The presidential regulations contains main definitions and regulates the detection, shelters, and protections of asylum seekers and refugees. It's the estimate that various proview this real law. The government of Indonesia and UNHCR to work more closely, including the area of joint registrations for asylum seekers, located among countries receiving a large number of asylum seekers and refugees, such as Malaysia, Thailand, and Australia. Indonesia has been continuously affected by mixed population movement. After the decline number in late of 1990s, the number of asylum seekers arriving in Indonesia increased again in 200 and 201 and 202. Although the number of arrivals then decreased against 203, 28, and the 10 of return arrival increased in 209. In 20 and 15 and over until 2019, annual arrival again declined. As of the end of December of 2019, the cumulative number of refugees in Indonesia was recorded at 13,060 and 5,700 people from 45 countries, and more than half of the population came from Afghanistan. Although the number of arrivals, then the protections that UNHCR provides begin with ensuring that refugees and asylum seekers are protected from revolvement. Refugee protections further includes a process of verifying the identity of asylum seekers and refugees so that they can be registered and individual documentation issued. Registered asylum seeker can then apply for refugee status through UNHCR in-depth assignment produce known as refugee status determinations. This produce provides an opportunity for individual asylum seeker to be interviewed their native language by RSD staff and assisted by an expert translator who will assess the validity of the protections request submit. Then the asylum seeker will be given as the decisions as to whether or not refugee status is guaranteed to him or not, along with the reason if request for protection is rejected. Producer in RSD provide one opportunity for reapplication. For those who obtain refugee status, UNHCR will find one of three comprehensive solutions. Traditional possible solutions have consisted of resettlement in third country, voluntary reparations when the conflict in the area origin has ended, or local integration in the country of asylum. However, in the current global refugees crisis, with more than 20 million people worldwide undergoing forced displacement, UNHCR is working to find a range of other solutions, including temporary ways how refugees can the opportunity to become self-reliant until suitable long-term solutions are found, and complementary solutions such as university scholarships and the possibility of states facilitate family reunions. The search of the search for viable long-term solutions for each refugee is a process that involves various considerations regarding the situations and conditions of individuals and families. The solution sought is solutions that suits the needs of each refugee. Indonesia, last month for several days, fishermen in Aceh, Indonesia, exactly in Bayern, threw offering of rice and buffalo bones into the sea as part of an annual ritual called Kanduri Laut, in which they prayed to express their gratitude to God forgive the gift of the sea and protections from harm. They were the first Rohingya refugees in a maritime movement to sail through the Andaman Sea since May 2015, where the interceptions and delays in landing thousands of refugees and migrants result in deaths at sea. The two, 219 presidential regulations has helped reduce the risk, as seen is the least safe with assistance from the Indonesia's government in terms of rescue uh, and acceptance of the last two groups. To prevent casualties, UNHCR representative and regional coordinations from Southeast Asia. UNHCR calls on all governments of the countries in this region of Asia to uphold their maritime obligations and in the spirit of the 2016 Bali declarations to save refugees, land them in the nearest safe place and withstand dangerous interceptions at sea to save lives. Uh, is one of 79 Rohingya refugees who landed in Aceh on April 20, where 2 weeks after escaping by boat from her home in Sittwe, the capital of Rakhine province in Myanmar, where more than 120,000 Rohingya have lived with the denial of citizens and basic rights in Myanmar. Some 200,000 people, Rohingya, have fled to Bangladesh since August last year, when violence started raging in Rakhine province. Living in the temporary accommodations provided by the local government in Biren, a town of Aceh's north coast, Kushida supervises his 11 years old granddaughter, Rumana, whose mother's Kushida's only child's life, want Kushida to take Rumana to Malaysia, where older sister Rumana has sought refugees. Kushida agreed. In her mind, sea travels with all its dangers was the only way to protect Rumana from violence and persecution. Kushida has lost all 5 sons in the communal violence that began in Setwe in 212. As soon as both that Kushida and other refugees was inlanded on, they were taken to a nearby training center where they were welcomed by government and local people. UNHCR, the United Nations Refugees Agency, has registered Kushida, Rumana, and 77 other Rohingya refugees, as 5 refugees who arrived on a driven boat and were rescued in Indonesian fishermen on April 6th. But only 10,000 people on board died or were missing at sea. Maybe just this my presentations today, and I say thanks to you to your attentions, and apologize if I have any mistake on my speech, and finally say assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.